Welcome to Aligned Impact, the podcast where conscious leadership meets bold entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Summmer Huntington, and each week we dive deep with founders, innovators, and thought leaders who are rewriting the rules of business from the inside out. Here we talk mindset, brand, content, culture, the real stuff behind building a legacy-driven business that doesn't burn you out. No filters, no fluff, just real conversations that inspire aligned action and intentional impact. If you're a visionary leader ready to create with purpose, grow with integrity, and lead with your heart, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
And we have a client right now that graduated, and she is kind of spearheading our alumni group. So that's been really, she was a client that she didn't talk in any of our groups really for maybe about 4 weeks. And now she's creating our alumni group and is doing really well.
Welcome, Maddie, to the show, Aligned Impact. Super pumped to chat with you about your organization that you have founded and co-founded with several other women. Maddie is based out of Utah. She runs a women's mental health facility called Emerge Utah, and she's one of 4 female leaders. I'd love to hear a little bit about kind of why you started Emerge and a little bit of your backstory.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is more clinical. I've been a therapist before getting my degree, still worked in the mental health field, just on a more psych tech type level. Always thought about potentially one day opening my own private practice. So the typical 1 hour per week type therapy. I was at a conference in 2020. 2023. And I spoke and I met a group of people that needed a clinician down in a more rural area of Utah. And I am in Salt Lake City. So I did not want to move to a more rural area, kindly declined. And then I saw them at a conference a couple months later, and they asked if I wanted to be their clinical director. Again, politely declined. And then they called me maybe another month later and said, I think we found a way that we can work together. And basically, it kind of still seems like a dream opportunity. They were like, propose something. And at first, they currently have a residential facility for teen girls. So that is high acuity teenagers that are there for a year or more, like staying overnight. And so I was toying around with that. And then I landed on wanting to do a facility specifically for women, young adult women, that focuses on general mental health, primary mental health, opposed to substance use. It's kind of split in our field that there's the primary mental health side and the substance side. And so I came up with a proposal, did some financial projections, which was a big learning curve for me, and went and proposed it, and just started from there. They really liked it. And so it's been quite the journey. But I just feel so passionate about this population. One, because there is not in Utah, and unfortunately not a lot of states, there are not gender specific programs that are kind of in between the 1 hour per week of therapy and staying overnight at the hospital or what have you for people struggling with general mental health concerns such as trauma or anxiety or depression. It really doesn't exist. It's either mixed gender or it is general mental health mixed with the substance use side. So we really are tapping into a untouched market, and something that I think is just so needed for women to process and heal and be able to speak to their unique experiences.
Yeah, I remember when we first started chatting, you told me a bit about how you founded it with five other women. Would you mind telling me a little bit about just kind of your role in the business and also your co-founders as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or sorry, there's one man, and then
there's a few. Yeah, I have. It is myself, my admissions director, and we also had starting out a co-owner that was an admissions director. And then there is another woman who is wonderful that kind of works in our HR that is part of that consultation or investment group. And it has been really special to be able to create this program from scratch with them. Um, we knew we wanted to do, we have a PHP or day treatment level of care, and then we have an IOP, intensive outpatient level of care. And so creating those programs and the curriculum when it comes to clinical, as well as the other aspects that we have that make our program more holistic, it's been really wonderful to collaborate with women that have so many different experiences. And all, like, kind of the three of us were really the ones that were in here painting and decorating before we opened and creating that program. And all three of us came into this field for somewhat similar reasons of just having a background that really changed all of us in a certain way. And I've just always been so fascinated with the idea that people can go through something very similar and turn out in a very different way, that idea of resiliency. And so being able to pull from all of our different backgrounds and still be able to have that similar experience of being a woman in our country and in the world. And so it's been really special and has meant a lot to me personally to be able to collaborate with women that I have so much respect and admiration for.
Yeah, I share that sentiment a lot. I work with a lot of yoga teachers actually that are probably going to be very interested in this podcast, and a lot of female yoga teachers as well. And when you said the word resilience, that really stood out to me, because that's a huge just concept right now that we're teaching with yoga and mindset work and meditation work, is giving people the tools to become more resilient. Mm-hmm. I'd love to learn a little bit more about your specific curriculum and the transformation that your curriculum provides for the women that are coming into your programs.
Yeah, and that truly is what keeps me going on, especially the harder days. I wear a lot of hats. I'm a founder, an owner, a therapist, the executive director. I do a lot of marketing and outreach and admissions and billing. And so it's nice to have this thing to fall back on, knowing that we're making a difference in women's lives. And it gives me chills talking about it. Really, our clients leave, what we hope they leave with is a feeling of empowerment and more self-trust and higher self-worth, clarity of who they are and their values. And, we, as women and just individuals in general, when you go through trauma, it really sends you messages that are tied to your worth or your value. And that can really impact people's ability to function in relationships or jobs, or even your ability to engage in self-care. And so it's just really remarkable to see women supporting women and validating each other and forming this community that they hold on to past graduating from here. And we have a client right now that graduated, and she is kind of spearheading our alumni group. So that's been really, like, she was a client that she didn't talk in any of our groups really for maybe about 4 weeks, and now she's creating our alumni group and is doing really well, got a new job. And just women leaving with that sense of self-trust, no matter what they face outside of this program, is really what we're all about.
Well, you guys are definitely embodying that with women helping other women, women leading other women. I think that the community aspect is really key for women to lift each other up and continue to embody that and demonstrate it too. I'm curious, since you've been in the industry for a while, what you're seeing specifically in this niche of women's health. Like, what's happening? What are the trends in the industry with women's health? Other facilities like yours? Sounds like you're pretty unique, but I'm just curious if you could give a little overview on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's exciting. There are a lot of shifts happening, which definitely keeps, I think, everyone in the industry on their toes. But it means that we're having more discussions about mental health, which has always been a problem. And contributes to the stigma surrounding mental health, that getting help is weakness, or you should be able to solve things yourself, or, oh, you're depressed, just go outside and you'll feel so much better. And so there's a lot of conversations happening, a lot of shifts. One of those is education on things such as like suicide awareness. There's a big myth that if we talk about suicide, it's going to put the idea in people's heads, which is completely research based, not correct. So a lot of just discussions in that way, but also education on the levels of care. A lot of people have the impression that you're either in an hour of therapy per week, or you're in the hospital on like a psychiatric hold, when really there are so many different levels of care in between that. And we have two of those, three of those, with our outpatient aftercare. So a lot of education on higher levels of care. There's a lot of involvement, more than I've ever seen on like a government level, hospitals and even general outpatient therapists coming together to try to get more funding and awareness out there for mental health. Um, there's been a big shift in virtual and like digital involvement. And that's been something interesting for us personally, is like, how do we make this program that is so personal and connection based kind of translate in a digital setting? So that has been a big shift. But then one of the biggest things I have seen and why we have involved it in our program is like that holistic side of things. Like you were talking about, I love the idea of yoga and how like for like mindfulness and incorporating nutrition and integrated care with physical health. It is, people are looking for that holistic side of things and understand the mind body connection. So that's why we have yoga classes twice a week here, and we have a dietitian come in twice a week to speak towards nutrition for women's issues. And so, really, if you're going to have a program, you need to involve that on some level. And also, I think group therapy is becoming much more of a trend, that people are seeing the value in that and the community they can get from that. And really just that basic level of I'm not alone in the things that I'm experiencing, and other people are speaking to things that I thought I was the only person that's ever felt that way. So, yeah, there's been a lot of shifts, which is exciting, but it can be a lot to keep up with.
Do you guys currently offer telehealth as well, or is it all primarily in person?
We do offer telehealth. Typically, we look at it on a case by case basis. The clients that we have had engage in telehealth, or clients that struggle to leave their homes due to the severity of their symptoms. And the ultimate goal was, they ended up coming in person once we got to the point where the symptoms were reduced and they were able to overcome those fears and engage in exposure type treatments to be able to come in person. So that is typically the ultimate goal, but we have gotten creative in the way that we involve in a virtual way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it seems like you have such a gorgeous facility. I've checked out your website. Everything is just so beautiful and inviting. It's and community is so important, like getting them in the room with you guys and creating that bond and fostering community and connection. Very helpful for the nervous system. I have a couple notes I'm just going to peek at down here. So in what's working well for you in specifically running your business, it sounds like you wear a lot of hats. I'm curious, what's working well, and then what are areas that you really want to see improve for the way that you're kind of running the business? And this is year one, year two?
Yeah, we have been last April.
Yeah, so relatively new. Yeah, so what's going well, and what are some things that you want to improve on, or feeling like it could be smoothed out?
Yeah, so going well. I'm just so immensely proud of the program we've created, and the curriculum that we have on a clinical level, but we, as well as a like life skills type level. We have a hour that people can work on things and get support with case management, but also we teach life skills as far as resume building or insurances, or how to gain social support or friendship groups in Utah, and really just trying to ensure that when someone leaves here, that they are well-rounded and they feel prepared, not only on a kind of mental level, but a level where they can function and start a career or school or whatever it is they're hoping to do. So we don't have a lot of clients that haven't graduated the program. Like the ones that we have had leave usually are their FMLA ended at work or something with insurance. And so that's something that I'm really proud of. And it's a testament to like many women that have put in a lot of effort. And on that note, what's going well and something that I started out with this being really passionate about is the culture that we have within our team. We have our clinical level employees, but we also have like psych tech bachelor's level type employees. And so many good changes that we have enacted have come from them. And so the fact that they feel comfortable to come to us and to like have the passion to make the program better is really great. Things that are a little bit frustrating and have been the biggest learning curve and tough thing for me is getting in with insurances because there's not really a private pay market anymore. It's much more insurance based, and it is tough to get in with some of the bigger insurance companies because they have a limited capacity to how many programs they're willing to take on. And so that has been a battle with a few and trying to plead our case in the way that like nobody else does what we do. Yes, there are other A treatment level care or IOP level cares that have general mental health programming, but they're either mixed gender or they're mixed in with substance use. And so that's kind of an ongoing battle is we so desperately want to serve and help as many clients as we can to heal, but we are limited in that way when people need to use their in-network benefits.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's definitely a big one. I hear that one often. I'm curious if you have ran into any frustrations with note taking or have utilized any. I'm into AI and really optimizing that for businesses. Have you guys started using that for note taking for
No.
electronic health records? No.
Yeah, it is. I was just talking to a client about this today, earlier today. And it is insane. Like we had an EMR software that they did a presentation for us and demonstrated the note taking, and I was very skeptical. And they, it was so impressive, and it's tough to trust like AI with something as personal as therapy, and especially because if your notes aren't done in a certain way or have enough detail, insurance will not pay for it. And so it's really crucial that your note taking is on point. And so our software is starting to integrate that. So that's something that we're looking into on if we want to use or not. Um, and so, yeah, we will see. But that's something that for the rest of my career, we're going to be figuring out how we work with AI and how to use it. And so right now I use it a lot for marketing and, networking and things like that. But we are looking into the charting component of it because with a higher level of care, you have to chart like every single group, every single hour, every single client. So it is tedious and takes time. And so it would be great if there was a tool. I mean, there are starting to be tools that can take over that burden.
Yeah, I've definitely been looking into some myself, and I've seen ones that they say that it saves like 30% of your time in your workday that you would be spending doing it by hand. It can really just be optimized in that way to give you your time back so that you can spend more time with your clients doing the connection piece. So where do you imagine Emerge Utah will be in the next 6 to 12 months? Where do you want it to go? Where are you growing?
Yeah, I definitely want to be in with more insurances. That would be ideal because that's kind of one of the biggest things that I am fighting for right now. I'm really excited about the alumni group that starts this month. So in 6 to 12 months, will obviously grow that. And um, so really looking forward to that continued community outside of when they're in the program. And um, personally, um, I think I still have to pinch myself that this is happening and that we are doing good work. And so I have battled myself with a lot of imposter syndrome. And so I hope 6 to 12 months down the road that I'll have a little bit more confidence and that I do know what I'm doing. And so that's, I think, a personal goal of mine, but really just getting more clients, allowing people to heal. It's um, and we have more people in a group because it just brings that much more power and like vulnerability and community. So hopefully, more clients to the point we have to open up a few different time slots and really just continue to help women have a space to heal from their trauma and I mean anxiety, depression, OCD, self-esteem issues, disordered eating, like what have you.
And what would be the most helpful thing for you to get the word out about Emerge Utah as far as the marketing piece? Like how can we help you get more exposure to local folks? Like what would be the most helpful thing for you to get more people in your doors?
Yeah, that's a tough battle and one I didn't anticipate was going to be as difficult because I'm like, oh, well, there's no programs like us. Then as soon as people hear about us, then we're going to be good to go. But it is tough to get your name out there. And especially as we're continually growing with insurances, people may have checked us out when we weren't in network with their insurance and then, haven't been updated or heard that we're in with other networks. So I think we have explored a few different ways. Like we do social media marketing, we're looking into billboard type marketing, and a lot of it is kind of like that word of mouth and getting in places. Especially, I kind of anticipated when we started this that we were going to be more of a step down facility. So basically, that if someone was coming from the residential or inpatient level of care, they would step down to us. But we've more so seen that it's people that are in that like hour, 2 hours of therapy per week on that outpatient level and need a higher level of care. And so there's just so many outpatient therapists out there that getting in front of them and we're all so busy. And so it's how do I make use and not waste their time? Um, and I don't know if we've completely figured that out yet. We're still a work in progress, but we have gotten involved with some really great groups. There's one in Utah called the Providers Navigation Group. And really, the goal is to better and more ethically help the programs in Utah, especially when it comes to warm handoffs and referring, and that has a lot of the bigger name hospitals in Utah, like Aspen Grove in Provo and the University of Utah in Salt Lake. So we have been getting involved and being at a lot of the conferences in Utah. But as far as getting to the outpatient therapists, I think is something we need to figure out how to do more effectively.
There's always room for growth, but I think you have something really unique that you're pioneering, and I can definitely tell you, going from being I'm not a therapist, but being the practitioner to then running the business and wearing all the hats of the ops, it's a challenge, and it's a big testament to your compassion and your passion for the field that you're doing that work. Well, thank you so much, Maddie, for spending a little time with me today and sharing a bit about how you're running your practice. And I look forward to seeing how it evolves. And how can we find you on social media and your websites?
Yeah, our website is www.emergeutah.com. And then on social media, we're under Emerge Treatment. We have an Instagram, a TikTok, a Facebook, a LinkedIn. The TikTok market has been interesting. Had to get really creative, and I do not consider myself a creative person. That has been a challenging part of marketing. But hey, we serve young adult females And that's, where they're at. So.
Awesome. Well, I love that you're developing content and creating a culture and really building the brand. Align Podcast, that's our original mission, is content, culture, and brand. And that's how we grow a business, is getting it out there and making sure people understand what you're doing. And I think for what you're doing, the sky's the limit, and it's only a matter of time. It's not if, it's when.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, Maddie. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Aligned Impact. I'm truly grateful to have you here in this growing community of leaders, innovators, and conscious change makers. Check the show notes for all the links and resources we mentioned today, and you can explore more of my work and programs over at FlowShala.com, or connect with me on social media at Summer Huntington and YouTube as well for behind the scenes movement inspiration and business tips. Stay tuned for more episodes of Aligned Impact that inspire you to lead with intention, get empowered, and create aligned impact in your life and your community.